Thank you very much, Rui. And if I am supposed to start with who I am, so first of all, good evening to everybody. Buonasera a tutti in Italian. And first of all, let me thank Rui, Francesco, and also Michele for the opportunity being here with you tonight, together with Michele, to show you our very interesting project. It's a long-term project, let me say, because it's a couple of years that we manage this task, and so we are very, very happy this evening to tell you and to also to receive your feedback, your opinion in our findings and what we done it. So about me, I'm a PhD transport engineer. I'm presently head of people development within the HR department of corporate investment banking division in Intesa Sanpaolo, a bank in Italy, an important bank in Italy. My main task is providing my colleagues, the colleagues of the division, with opportunity of enhancing their professional and entrepreneurial skills in order to contribute to the future development of the division. Okay, I'm in the group. I've been in the group since 2002, but I've been part of the HR team since 2019. That means that before I was on the other side of the fence, and later you will understand better. I will explain to you what does it mean. I was in the other side of the fence. Before I was one of the people in charge of before being a person in charge of an HR function, I dealt with project finance, European financing for infrastructure, and for technological innovation projects. And few years before being involved in HR, I dealt with customer satisfaction and external communication. So that's it. Michele, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Cristina. And let me thank again Rui for inviting us. I'm happy to be with us, even if I'm not seeing you in face. My name is Michele, and I'm a fellow research in the Department of Design of Politecnico di Milano. I had a PhD in design, and Rui was one of my supervisors. So, and I'm glad to be part of the Strategic Design and Innovation Lab, jointly developed with IADE. I'm actually also a designer. I work as a designer for at the beginning of my, let's say, experience, professional experience. Then I moved to the academy, but I am always, let's say, as you can imagine. Dealing with design disciplines in research means continuously be in touch with the real and practitioner world, and not only the academic one. And I like to be in this, let's say, situation of jumping from one side to the other. But by the way, let's say my main focus is strategic design, particularly applied to what we can call design culture within organization and complex organization. And you will see through our presentation also an example of the work we are doing. So I will start sharing our presentation and the screen. So just confirm me that it's again working and you can see the file in a while.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you, Rui. So, oh, thank you. Hernani, right? I will learn some of your name maybe later. Hopefully, we can see also in face at the end of the presentation. So, Rui already introduced what is the title of our let's say presentation and the story that we want to share with you today. Let me share the who we are. We already introduced ourselves, but let me share, let's say, the journey of this evening together. We will start with sharing with you how we start sharing with you what I mean in design in organization. So let's say a sort of that we call the theoretical introduction or maybe the basis on which then we developed also the reflection, the practical reflection with Intesa Sanpaolo and with Cristina. Cristina will share with you some of the, let's say, challenges, hard challenges that an HR manager should deal with in this in such a complex context that the one that we are living in. And then we will go through telling the story about our project together, cooperation project, and we will close the part of our presentation with some open challenges that I think it's worth sharing with you all, and also listening your opinion about that. So briefly, introducing what I mean as designing in an organization, which is, let's say, at the basis also of my interest of research and my also PhD research and my passion, actually. So let me share with you that what I really love of design nowadays is how the boundaries of our discipline are in continuous evolution, we can say. And in order to, let's say, share with you this, I bring, let's say, scheme that I like it from Buchanan. Maybe some of you already know it. Maybe Rui already shared with you, which represent the four orders of design. So our discipline at the beginning historically starts with the first one, that is the one of text and images, and then the second one of objects. So design deals with designing communication or products. But then we are achieving a level of complexity that includes also the process, the strategy, and the experience design, so the third order. And then in the recent year, we are also considering an object to be designed, system, organization, and cultural system too. So the fourth order. What I love about this scheme is that you have to consider always as a sort of onion. So when you deal with complex projects like the one that we are doing also with Intesa Sanpaolo and that one that we are sharing with you this evening, so when you deal with third and fourth order, you're always including projects that as designers, as a researcher, included also the first and the second one. Usually, or nowadays, we can say that the most common terms to define the areas of application of this kind of project is the label with these two words, design thinking, which are, from my point of view, kind of overused and abused in some of the context. Let me share with you what is my, let's say, perspective, and also my research group perspective in approaching design in this, let's say, chaotic use of design thinking. Well, from my perspective, design thinking should be considered as a means mainly, so not as a result, not as a tool, but as a mean to make us, enable us to merge and bring some design culture within traditional culture or within unconventional context for design. I just, let's say, want to say something that maybe I should have said before. If you have any doubts, like, please raise your hand, interrupt us, so maybe we can make it more interactive. And please, Cristina, jump in whenever you want. Just another premises, which I think it's fundamental to, let's say, be on the same page during this presentation. When I mean design culture within organizational culture, I'm always wondering what do we mean as organizational culture? And this definition from Shane of 2010, I think is, let's say, it's the one that usually I use for having a solid base on my side in order to develop further experiments. So organizational culture, as you can read, includes norms, values, assumptions that define, let's say, the right or the way to behave in organization. And this is the key word, behave, for me. Behavior is let's say, the object to me during my research, during my actual research, during my PhD research, that drive me in kind of asking to myself, how can I intervene? How can we as designer be a sort of activator of a behavioral changing process? And in order to, let's say, interact with the complex system of organizational culture, like I steal from the organizational behavior studies a model that divides the culture also in these three layers that you can see here. So the micro level of the organizational culture relates to the individual behavior. The meso level is related to the interaction between individuals within organizations, so teams and groups. Well, and then the third one, on the last one, you have rules and behavior of the whole organization, so the macro level. As you can imagine, as you can see from the graph here, my focus is to always questioning how design, so that the red, let's say, flow of design can produce effect and impact on the micro level of the organization, so on the individuals, on peoples. The human perspective is always, as you know, the direction that drive us as designer. Nevertheless, I think it's interesting as analyzing complex phenomena, complex cultural phenomena, starting from employee dynamics inside the organization. And this is, let's say, the core and the starting part of that led us to develop also a concrete project. Let me share with you some other reflection that we had before at the basis of our project. So you probably are common with this kind of reflection, so I won't spend too much time, but I think it's interesting to see how we are approaching different in different way the organization as design. So previously organization were approached or approached design in order to innovate somehow. Nowadays, if you follow the arrow, the red arrow, organizations are adopting design in order to change the organization internally. So we are, let's say, changing the perspective in order to transform organization from internal point of view, instead of approaching innovation with organization in order to propose and innovate something that is delivered to the consumer. So before deliver something to the consumer, or in order to innovate also in what you deliver, you have to change internally the organization. And from my point of view, design can play an interesting role in doing this. Why nowadays organizations are adopting design? Why should a complex organization adopt design? Well, in this case, I think it's interesting to see that there are different drivers in this sense. So the first two that you can read here are more oriented to produce, let's say, the external innovation. So facilitating process of innovation, as you can see, or developing better experiences for customer. But what is interesting, again, it's on the red color. So drivers that are connected to the internal cultural development, as we were mentioning before, or fostering internal teamwork and activity that enable breaking down the silos between the different silos between an organization, which is a very huge challenge. Another very interesting challenge for us is to try to intervene on the talent attraction and retaining creative people inside the organization. And then even the more challenging aspect of system changing, that can be one of the, let's say, organizational design aspects that are more challenging to face during in a context in which organizations are adopting design. Every time design intervene inside the organization, the approach should be systemic, as you can imagine, as you probably already know. So from our point of view, the figure of designer is evolving, and the ability to have this holistic approach of including the communicational aspect, service aspect, product aspect, touch point that can be made by the different orders of design, as we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, is the fundamental constraint in order to cooperate in this kind of complex problem intervention. So when I speak about design intervention inside the organization, I give also to you, I bring today to you also some concrete example of areas of application in which design intervention can play a sort of interesting and experimental area to develop. And first can be workplace design, working on and reflecting on how the working model are evolving. Then the employee experience design is one of the areas most promising and most challenging nowadays, which means also designing corporate culture touch points in different natures, but also we can intervene inside the organization, activating participatory decision-making process through co-design activities, and we can be the activator of this kind of project. That can be also awareness-raising projects. So, as I was mentioning before, in having this ambition of a sort of activator of behavior inside the complex system like the organization are. And then, of course, we can empower nurturing the organization with design abilities that can be a sort of training for the soft skills, but not only the skills that can, let's say, make professional more adaptable and ready to change in front of the such complex times that we are living in. The focus, let's say, the primary goal when I firstly met Tina and Intesa Sanpaolo Corporate Investment Banking Division was at the beginning to face this challenge of helping them in renewing the employee experience, or at least try to empower the HR function in being able to continuously renovate the employee experience. And as you can see from this graph, when you deal with employee experience, you deal with something that has to combine the employee expectation and needs, but also the organization expectation and needs. And let's say this introduction more on a theory, more on my, let's say, flow of consciousness that I share with you at the basis of the project as also a concrete, let's say, request from a company. And the need that I feel, I perceive in dialoguing kind of 2 years ago with Christina and her colleagues, I feel that we were in front of two different needs. One is an organizational needs that is culturally changed in order to attract and retain new talent, but at the same time, there were a real need from the employee in improving the quality of working life and having, let's say, a culture that is enabling them to grow inside the organization. And this was let's say, the starting point when I firstly met Christina, which was facing already some very challenging, let's say, challenges. But regarding the one that we want to share tonight with you, this evening with you, I leave the floor to Christina to introduce how it's and which are the main aspects to be considered in such a scenario.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michele, for the floor. And I will start saying that the COVID-19 crisis for us as HR, was really a great opportunity. There's never been a better time to be in an HR team. Why? Issues such as digital transformation, flexible working, reskilling, upskilling were important before the COVID-19 crisis. But because of this crisis, they become critical, and they remain so also now. So last March 2020, were working with Michele, I think more than for 6 months, probably 6-7 months, and we were ready for a lab together with my people, and then COVID crisis appear in our lives. So this pandemic has rapidly made for us as HR people the #1 priority. And you say, because which was your priority, the priority of an HR team before? Yes, they were even before, people were even before our priority, but quickly they have to face urgent and concrete needs. IT that allowed them to work from home, new hard and soft skills to learn how to use hardware and software, supporting the most fragile and also the most resilient to face a new work and life balance, also finding new ways to engage them. To deal with that unexpected situation, we had to reinvent us as HR, as a function, in our target, because we were expected to be more connected, tuned with our people, and also we were expected to drive culture of innovation and flexibility, and also to enable concretely new ways of collaboration. So when COVID crisis happened, nobody was enabled formally to smart working, for example. Not all the people had a personal computer, so laptop to bring at home, because, for example, trader was supposed to work only in the office, for example. So in, let me say, 2-3 days, it was Friday, and the trader said, "You are crazy. It's impossible. We cannot work from home. 6-screen hardware and all this stuff was impossible to move to their home." And on Monday they were at home, and there was no problem of performance at the end of the year. So that means that it was not because of HR, of course, but it was because we were able all together to stay together and to perform all together in a completely different way. So at that time, also we changed completely the way of working together with Michele. We were ready for an in-presence laboratory. And then we decided, okay, it's impossible to have our laboratory. So we have to do the same thing to obtain the same target, to train this trainer, HR people, but everybody at their home together with their laptop. So we changed completely. It was Michele and his team that changed completely the design of the experience, and we obtained very great results, because it was really great, and we feel all engaged in that matter. In parallel with our people, we start to be in contact with managers, for example, and managers with their team, to ask them day by day which were their need, how many laptops was needed, how many screen was needed, and then when during the weeks, helping them in understanding how to use, for example, Microsoft Teams, how to use video conferences, multiple video conferences, or maybe also to relax a bit, to take the opportunity to involve also their family, the kids, in few small activity, a tea or coffee time, just to involve also the family. You know, there are people that were in a few less than 100 square meters in 4, maybe mother and father working, kids and children doing their role in the family. So, you know, it was but it was great, because for us it was an opportunity to test day by day what was it possible, with a lot of mistakes, of course, because but we learn to know each other and to find different way to stay together. Okay, so at the end of the story, what we learned, it was to move from the previous world where we as an HR, match people and job. So you need a trader, and so you find a trader, and so a person expert in trading, to a different world where we match skills of the people, soft and hard skills, and tasks to do. So now I give again the floor to Michele.
Okay, let me switch on the mic. Okay, thank you, Christina, again. Please jump in now whenever you want for commenting. So as Christina was saying, we start our collaboration and our project actually nurturing with a request of supporting them in facing, let's say, the previous pre-pandemic challenges that were similar to the post-pandemic one, but maybe less urgent in from some aspect. And that's why, in order to, let's say, answer to very clear request from Christina and from her colleagues of helping them in retaining and attract the talents, but also nurturing their culture kind of inside the organization. Because what Christina, what at least to me was a very important information at the beginning of my cooperation with such a big bank, because I think, if I'm not wrong, Christina, you are more than 3,000 employees, right?
Yes.
Kind of. And
Sure.
The kind of employee, corporate investment banking to me was a new word. Maybe some of you already are, let's say, expert on it or confident with this kind of word, but the kind of people inside this organization are very kind of hyper skilled, technically speaking, and they have an average of life and a salary that is quite high compared to other sectors. And they have a very intense working life, and they have a huge market between, let's say, market in terms of job markets. So they have the possibility to come to the door of Christina and saying, look, someone else is offering me kind of doubles of the salary. And so what Christina and her teams propose to us is to supporting them in create the condition inside the organization that makes people not, let's say, decide to leave the organization for a reason of money or for a reason of something, because they don't feel to be in the, let's say, in the same path, in the same DNA, and recognizing themselves inside the organization. That's why we said, let's say, discussing with them, we realized that what was important is to start training the HR team members in thinking at their internal client. That's how we call them, right? We as designer treat like a kind of external client in the consumer market. So designing experiences not for someone who is going inside a retail store, but designing the working experiences, the working life experiences inside the organization. So how to do that? Our approach, let's say, as team of design researcher was, I have to say, different compared to, let's say, the traditional, compared to maybe what we can see design consultancy, which works with the company as the big company like Christina is representing. But usually the consultancy provide already a solutions for the problem, providing a set of employee experience, for example, which is something that we could even do as designers. But we decide to have a different approach, not only because of our research DNA, but also because we deeply believe that in order to make a permanent and long-lasting change, you have to work with the people inside the HR in order to empower them to being able to start designing by themselves, or at least having a design culture and mindset in order to approach everyday challenges in defining then the employee experience. That's why.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, just a second, Michele. Just to try to explain with a very small example. Before there was a function, organization function, that is always in the bank, of course, that decided our job have to be done. And then HR people have to find the people that are able to do that job. Now, what our challenge is to help people in improving how they are doing their job. So enable people to build their experience. And so we are not there to tell the people what they have to do, full stop. We are there to help people to build their working experience better, because maybe somebody that knows his job very well is able also to improve the process adopted in an organization. So this was our starting point. And so if HR people are not able to, don't know design thinking, of course, they are not able to help people in designing their experience and their project. So sorry for interrupting you, Michele.
No, you don't have to be sorry. Instead, it's nice to interact in this way, and thank you for adding this to the story. And in order to do what such a complex challenge as Christina said, we developed at the beginning, let's say, a series of training sessions for them, which was meant to be developed in person, as some of the project that we develop also in partnership with Rui Patricio. But then we all experienced the unexpected pandemic situation, and that's why we transfer our model of activities into a series of digital session. And here you have some photos, we can call in this way, pictures of and screenshot of our session, mainly divided with let's say a structure of the project that was very let's say attentively designed in order to have a first phase of scoping, as you can see in this scheme, in which we need to ice break with the high HR manager, top manager like Christina, and understanding the situation first, and then moving into the second phase of training involving the teams inside the team members inside the team of Christina, empowering them and living an experience of pretending to design an experience for their colleagues. And the final phase of the project, as a final, let's say, aim, the moment of co-designing with the employees. So after a training period with the HR members, involving the final client, in this case the internal client, the employees, in the process of co-designing the experience. That was the original structure that you also probably see also in this scheme, that as you can see, start from the very center with the HR managing board, and then the people development team, which is the team managed by Christina, and then hopefully arriving to a sort of effect into the life of internal clients. This was the structure of the project at the beginning. Let me skip fastly this, again, other pictures of and screenshot of the process that we did at the, let's say, probably in the first year of activity, right? Christina was more or less the first 2020 storm in a way, but at the fall of the 2020. Christina, which is kind of already has a design mindset even before knowing each other, jump in with the challenge that actually is at let's say the very beginning of the working life scenario and evolution project, which I will briefly present to you, for then passing to the actual and open challenges that we want to share before listening to your question. Working life scenario and evolution start with this kind of design challenge in a way, or research question, which we can call. So which kind of working life scenario should be adopted in light of the changes and systemic changes that we were experiencing in this moment of transition? As you can see, it's a very complex question posed and shared in between in this collaboration, and our research team start, let's say, reflecting on how to let's say follow this ambition of the team and the company of Cristina in kind of let me say, using this moment of transition, which is kind of uncertain moment, in order to deeply intervene on the change inside the organization. So using this moment.
Yeah, I was interrupting you. Sorry, Michele. Just to be, let me say, Michele is very, very kind. But what I can tell you is that our organization, the bank, not the division, not our department, but the bank in general, the owner, realized that we achieved the same result or better results than the year before. So they say, okay, that means that if my people are working at home, not working in my premises, they do a really great job. So they don't need all the space. You know, we are in the center of Milan. The great part of us, 2,000 of us, are in the center of Milan, in front of Teatro La Scala, in a very, very, very expensive space in Milan, and the premises of the bank in general are in a very expensive place of cities. So they said, why spend a lot of money renting on or owning historical buildings if people can do the same job at home or in a better in another place, and maybe working from home, or maybe coming in the office a couple of days and all every. So they realized that smart working was a chance for the company, and so they decided very, very quickly to reduce the space. So to change our offices, to reduce a lot our space. So we remain home. It was March the 8th of 2020, and when we return in the office, now we are in 1/3 of the space we were 1 year before. The year before. That means that also for us, it was needed to change completely our mindset. So because of that, and because we were requested to move to have a general moving in our premises, you can imagine that people spend all this stressful period, then think, okay, it's finished, it's summer, we have holiday, and then back again in the office in the old situation. And when they come back to the office in the old situation, they didn't find their offices, but they find spaces that they have to share with other colleagues. They have to book the desk and the day in which they are in the office, because personal offices, personal desks were disappearing. So we work with Michele, and this was this question that you can read in the screen was our question: how to help people in design from scratch their experience. So Michele, sorry for interrupt. I was very direct, but this was the situation there. And we were very lucky. We were very lucky because we trained ourselves before together with Polydesign, with Michele and Francesco.
Yeah, luckily we had this previous time of sharing, let's say, point of view and aligning our way of working. This helped us in facing such a critical situation, as Christina said. I said, let's say, the challenging aspect and let's say the motivating aspect. Then Christina is completely right. Facing this kind of also not easy to manage situation for an HR manager, let me say, because the employees were kind of let's say not they are still, Christina, not
Yes.
very happy to leave their own space, very big offices in a wonderful place in the city center of Milan, with a lot of benefit, I would say, benefit from let's say in terms of atmosphere that they live every day at their workstation in a way. So we are in front of a kind of as you can imagine, we were in front of kind of, from one side, motivating and also inspiring scenario of working for designer and design researcher, but at the same time a critical one, because we have to deal with people that are kind of disappointed in front of, even if it's the best institution to talk with them in order to change their way of working. They are feeling that they are mostly gaining nothing, but they are losing their benefit instead of this is not, let's say, I don't want to say that don't want to say that it's, let's say, all the people were disappointed, because as you will see in the story in a while, we had the were very motivated also in using this. Can you hear me?
But in some sense, yes, in some sense, people lose their identity in their job. This was one of the main findings, because they after the crisis, after 6, 7, 8 months of crisis, they when they returned back in the office, they were asked to remove all the personal items that you know, they realized that the world was changed and they have to adapt in a different situation. So on one side, they prefer to work at home, but on the other side, they need to socialize and to go back and to find touch point of their identity. And they was asked to remove their identity. So just to give you an idea, in one of the interviews, somebody say, okay, we all together we decided that it's nice if we were asked to remove, for example, flowers, a nice plant in our desks. And somebody say, oh, okay, we can adopt a plant, a flower in the shared desk because we need identity, you know. So, but this also was a great opportunity, because doing that interview, and maybe later Michele will show you, during this interview, that in the interviews, we find very interesting colleagues with a lot of idea. And then I give the floor again to Michele.
Yeah, actually, sorry, I have some, okay. Actually, let me share with you quickly, because I think we are a bit in delay compared to our agenda. So the moment in which we met, kind of super interesting colleagues, as one mentioning, Christina, is, let's say, anticipated by other steps, as you can see in the project. So for facing such a complex challenge, we had, let's say, different phases of our project, and I will try to very quickly summarize to you. The first one was exploration. So we said to Christina and her team, look, we need to have build up the condition to face such a complex challenge. So we provide them different way of approaching this research, different time let's say, horizon, as you can see in this slide, to consider, and we decide together to focus not on the now, so answering now, not on the near, but on the far. So understanding how should change the way of working of people. Let's start from the far in order then to come back experimenting on the now, in order to use this opportunity to change really the way people work. And in order to do that, we bring their let's say our expertise as a researcher. We bring some evidences, some data based on trends report, based on how is working the future, how is changing the future of work, as you can see from this summarizing slide. I won't spend time on the content, but just saying to you that we prepare with a very broad research combined with the most important aspect of our research, which is we need to consider the user, the individual needs, the human individual needs inside this changing situation and in the future situation of works. We combine it and we build up what we call the scenarios. So working life scenario as the title of the project. Scenario for us are a sort of, we can say, stories in which we are expecting to see specific changes related to the context that we are developing. So we design these stories with, and this is important, with Christina and her team, not by ourselves. I mean, we are the designer, and I have a very skilled teams of young designers and expert designers and researchers coordinated by me and also Professor Zullo from my department. But by the way, we do it in partnership with Intesa San Paolo. That's the important things of this project. Always in a cooperation, which means we both work for developing those scenarios, and those scenarios lead us to focusing on specific critical topic to be faced not only in the far future, but also in the near one, okay? Which are the one that you can briefly see in this slide. So different topics that should be considered in the future of work, but also in the present of changing environment of the working context. And after developing the scenarios, we asked to Christina to please sit down digitally still, because we were in the second wave, third wave of this damn pandemic. And we asked to Christina, please, Christina, help us in knowing the people inside the organization. Because we don't know the different professional figures, we don't know the different kind of life that these people has, and we do need to know the life of people if we want to propose them new solution in changing the way of working. That's why we meet different kind of person. We talk with the team of Christina in understanding their life, and then we design a sort of moment of interaction, of interviews, as the one that you can see here with Andrea is the guy that you see in the bigger let's say picture of the team's conversation, which is the head of financial engineering team, a very clever guy, very smart one, but also very proactive one. And during the interviews on which we try to understand how he's evolving his working life, he was very proactive in proposing also how he is expecting to live these changes. And that's why one of this meeting, this set of interviews led us also to preparing the ground for the experimental phase, the very experimental phase that we called the continuous lab, continuous experimental lab, with this idea of doing different iteration of this lab. What was and what is maybe this lab? Actually is we kind of prepare in a part of the organization, in part of the spaces, several options to the different teams, several options of spaces that are designed in order to answer to different needs. And the colors that you see here, we build a model in which each spaces is based not on different teams. So the team of Cristina is working on the blue one, the Michele one is working on the green one, and the one from IADE is working on the yellow. The model, the infrastructural model that the bank actually Intesa Sanpaolo proposed to us is a working model that is called activity-based working, which means that you don't leave your space of working in base of what is your job, but you kind of navigate the space according to the different activity that you have to perform. If I do have to make this lecture to you, I would need, let's say, a silent room, and now I'm isolating in the bedroom of my daughter. But imagine to be in the workplace. I do need a workplace that enable me to having different space for the different function. And that's why with the first experiment, we kind of prepare this experiment involving only one team in navigating different spaces and different experiences. We design the experiences of course, in a synergic way with how we prepare the different spaces in order to let them work 1, 2, and 3 days inside these spaces, and also remotely, with part of the team remotely, part of the team in presence, and we kind of test different hypotheses with them. We asked them to try to perform. It was not a workshop like a design workshop in which Michele start and explain how to interact during the whole day. We asked them to perform as a normal day, but place design, not at all. We do have to use the existing spaces of Intesa Sanpaolo. We just had, we reconfigure some space, we had some technologies, but mainly we change the way of approaching to the working day. And it was very interesting to experiment with the team of financial engineering. This was in July of 2021, of last year. And this was, let me say, as we always said with Cristina, the test of the experiment, so the prototype of the experiment, because led us to then evolve to the second session of the experiment, which was, let's say, slightly different because we involve more than one teams. We make this situation, let's say, the model to be tested more detailed. We open up to more people inside the navigation of the different experience, but also we change some of the aspect that from our perspective doesn't work in the first time. So for example, as you can see in this picture, we had a briefing moment in which I and me with my team, I explain in 1 hour of 40 minutes around of training how and which are the principles behind let's say the optional spaces, the architectural of spaces that they were leaving. And we kind of try to train them in a sort of soft way in order to have people more aware on what they were experiencing during the lab. I have a video of it, which is, let's say, 1.5 minutes, but we also want to share with you some final challenge. And I don't know, Rui, if we are, how much time
you have plenty of time, Michele. This is so interesting that no doubt we would like to know more about it. So.
Okay, I don't want to, let's say, I'm sorry because we are a bit in delay compared to, let's say, the agenda that we had in mind, and I don't want to bore you too much.
We are sorry for such a late class, but anyway, thank you so much again.
Okay, so I will try to share with you, Cristina. If you agree, I can share the video that just, let's say,
yes,
make
please. Yes, please.
them get the flavor of the second experimentation. But I need to stop the sharing of this one, and I need to share. Okay, let me just open. Okay, it's coming in a while. Okay, I don't know if you hear the sound of the video,
yes, it was okay.
Great.
Yeah.
So thank you, Rui. So as you see, let's say from a design perspective, I would love to answer to a question like I made to myself. So what we design as designer and design researcher in this intervention. I hope that you grasp from the video that what we designed was a different kind of touch point inside the space. First of all, we invest a lot in a sort of internal awareness raising campaign of communication. So we prepare a series of poster of communication, let's say, touch point in order to transfer to not only the people involved in the experiment, but the whole set of employees inside the building, some provocative question on how their working life is changing actually. But then we also, as you see, had this training moment at the beginning. We had a lot of follow-up moment at the end, and also during we observed them navigating the different spaces. And moreover, as I shared with you before, we developed the kind of model on which is based the experiment. So we had different color for, let me share again the presentation. We let's say define, sorry, let me find the presentation again. Okay. We assign different, as you see in the previous map. Let me. Okay. In this, let's say, visualization I showed to you before, the different colors are associated to different kind of activities, different kind of moments. So we have spaces dedicated to active working, spaces dedicated to kind of having a space for recovering energy, spacing to have sort of breathe, and spaces to have a conversation without technology, but let's say promoting and nurturing a sort of creative environment. And then we have spaces to have and foster hybrid meetings. So we build up a model to be navigated inside the daily working life. Then I had also, let's say, the last point of the interesting point of the project is that we, after 2 or 3 iteration of these 2 iteration of this experiment, we are also now interviewing and producing kind of videos interview of people that participate to this experiment. And with Christina, we are developing this video in order to disseminate the result internally to the company. Exactly for the reason that we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation of WLSE project. The reason is that people, most of the people or a part of the people inside the bank are disappointed about the changes, and we do need, in partnership, to nurture this kind of culture of changing and, let's say, reduce the barriers. And I think one of the model is to let people feel to be part of this change inside the organization, and also hear kind of different witnesses from other colleagues that can maybe let them to feel to be part of this, at least reflect about what is happening, and open a channel of dialogue between the HR and the people, which has, of course, different expectations, different needs, and so on and so forth. So people are complex, and Christina and her team every day has to deal with complex problems that are appearing. And I want to conclude the presentation with a few of inspiring reflection that Christina shared with me, and you will see in the following slide. Christina, please.
So yes, thank you, Michele. Thank you, Michele. And this never-ending period of COVID-19 crisis I think has forever impacted on how companies work and how employees see work fitting into the rest of their lives. To face the never normal, I like to call it never normal. We are in the fourth wave of this pandemic crisis. So to face the never normal looming on the horizon, organizations are searching for solid footing through new principles and ways of working to shape their collective cultures. Along the way, there will be a great number of challenges to cope with, and some of them are going to play a key role in determining the function of HR and the way work gets done and the way work gets done in an organization. What I think is employee well-being matter more than ever and represent a challenge to be addressed without delay for us. But what does employee well-being actually mean in the employer-employee relationship? Is it just a question of enabling technology and adequate physical workspaces, or is something more complex that requires the design from scratch of employee experience? This is why I say we were lucky to start with design thinking and to train our people to design thinking. In the previous slide, Michele, there is okay from two. So we are moving from a context, a work context where there was only two things that matters for the employee and for the employer: salary and job title. So you are an employee, you start your work, before you are a professional, then you become a manager, then a senior manager, then an executive, and so salary and job title was something that realize yourself, feel yourself realized. Today we are realized with the pandemic, we realized that there are many aspects of our job that matter for us, and well-being is one of that. Well-being is this all components: mental health, physical health, liking what to do, free time, salary and job title. So salary and job title decrease in their importance in our perception, no, in the perception of the people. So it's not just a question of enabling technology, not a question of adequate physical workspaces, not only a matter of salary. It's something more. And so my question is, and so to face this never normal, of course, we have also to consider our people, humans, more than resources to do a job. So more soft skills. And so what we are facing now is, what we are focusing on is on employee well-being. That means that also our recruitment strategies are changing, our work models are changing, the way in which we manage structure are changes. Also, the benefit profile is changing. Work technology, of course, and also the workplace culture and the company culture, I must say. But I would like to say something more. Does a DEI culture play a strategic role? What I mean with DEI culture: diversity, equity, and inclusion. For hybrid work, this component, diversity, being able to include in the team also diverse culture, diverse skills, not only engineer with engineer, banker with bankers, but also philosopher with bankers, philosophy with engineer. Equity, transparency, and also inclusion, the ability to include all the people in the work-life experience. So this pandemic has made one thing clear about the future of employer and employee relationship: human are more than resources. And this seems to be stupid, but it is not. It is more of that. So this requires, in my opinion, in every phase of a process, an approach that focuses on all concept of diversity, in the whole concept of equity and inclusion, and on employees as a human being, as not as simple resources. I would like to end with this sentence, because I think this will change completely the way of the work of human resources.
Thank you, Christina. And from the, let's say, just to very conclude, for us as designer and design research, I think it's time to go beyond the design of workspaces. And I think it's interesting to see a way of designing options of experiences as we see before. And to conclude, I think it's even becoming much urgent, the starting question that let's say make me start working with Christina and the teams and on this topic. So as you remember, let's say half an hour ago, I said to you that we start with a request of help us in retaining talent. And as you probably know, nowadays we are experiencing a lot of resign. People are understanding that the life is not only working, and there is a huge, let's say, movement of changing way of working, and so it's becoming even much challenging to engage people inside the organization. And I think, I deeply believe, I know I'm biased because I'm a designer, but I think that design action can foster this employee engagement, and you as a future design researcher or design practitioners, I think we do have to reflect on how and which kind of new action can we build up for fostering this engagement. Let me thank you all for listening to us. I hope that you are still alive after this 1 hour and I don't know, 1 hour, more or less 1 hour.
And 13
and I hope
minutes.
that hope that you enjoy.
Well,
thank you very much for listeners.
It was like the grand finale.
We're happy to hear, of course, some questions or doubts also from you, Rui.
To stop